we go through Obama's policies, huge deficits. The Federal Reserve last year printed $1.5 trillion. You know what they did with it? They used it all to buy U.S. Treasury debt and mortgage-backed securities. Now, where does Main Street get any kind of growth from that? This debt is going to be hanging over our grandchildren if we don't do something about it. Yet Obama's budget increases spending, increases the deficit, and will double the debt of the United States in 10 years. We've got to step up and tell the truth about that. But that's not all. His health care policy. How does business hire people if they don't know what their obligations are going to be for health insurance for their employees and don't know the cost? I was involved in the 90s in the Hillary care debate, but one thing I can tell you about it, nobody ever dreamed that the government-run healthcare system would make the cost of healthcare go up, would make health insurance rates go up. But that's exactly what Obamacare does, and his own administration admits it. Another way that they're keeping us from creating jobs. Finally, their energy policy. The Obama energy policy, in one sentence, is to drive up the cost of energy so Americans will use less of it. That's not an energy policy, that's environmental policy. Because they say if Americans use less of it, they'll have less energy. We need an administration whose energy policy is more American energy. We've had an economy since the British landed at Jamestown 400 years ago based on abundant, affordable American energy. And that's what we need to have in the United States. More oil, more gas, more coal, more alternatives. In my state, we have 2 plants that make solar panels. We have all kinds of biofuels. We have a company that makes bio crude from wood. So we're for all of the above. And as long as old Haley's around, and that goes the same for Kevin, maybe even Juliana, we're going to be using fossil fuels in America for energy, and the idea of a carbon-free economy right down the road is simply not going to happen. So we need to have an economy in the United States that has enough energy that we can grow and create jobs. Taxes, spending, debt, deficit, health care, energy. Every policy of the Obama administration makes it harder for the economy to grow and makes it harder to create jobs. I go through that in some detail because I think it's very important that we not let the American people think that cutting spending is an end unto itself. Because cutting spending is the means to an end. The end, the goal, is to create jobs and grow the economy. My old friend Fred Smith, fellow Mississippian, is the founder and CEO of FedEx. Fred says, the main thing is to keep the main thing the main thing. The main thing is to keep the main thing the main thing. The main thing for America, and therefore the main thing for our national policy, has to be economic growth and job creation so our children and grandchildren will inherit a country that is better than the country we inherited. I started in 1968. I dropped out of college and ran 30 counties in the Nixon campaign. I've been involved in every presidential campaign and a lot of others in all the years since. But until about 18 months ago, there was a statement I'd never heard made by anybody that I now hear, if not every day, several times a week. And that is people say to me, I am afraid my children and grandchildren will not inherit the same country I inherited. I never heard that at the depths of Watergate, at the height of the war in Vietnam, during Jimmy Carter's malaise, or any other time. I now hear it from executives and professionals, but I hear it from policemen, I hear it from teachers, I hear it from nurses, I hear it from waging our employees. People have a very good reason to be worried about this because they know, as the Department of Defense has said, there is a gigantic threat to our country's future because of the profligacy, the debt that we are accumulating that is strangling the economy today, but will strangle our country before very, very long. So we've got to stay focused, but we've got to make real plain. The reason we're doing this is so that we can get America back on the right track, a track of growth and prosperity and jobs. The country that, in fact, Ronald Reagan knew of, was part of. My great-grandfather came in from Ireland in the 1840s to a land of opportunity that was unheard of anywhere else in the world. In my lifetime, in my adult lifetime, we've had millions of people come to this country for exactly the same thing. If we don't watch out, our country is not going to be that shining city on the hill. It is not going to be what Abraham Lincoln called the last best hope on earth for man. Because American exceptionalism is based on the belief that we can do anything. The recognition that there is no place like this because of our freedom. That our economic freedom is as essential to the success of America as our political freedom. Because it is that economic freedom that makes us different, that allows any person who will work hard and use his or her God-given talents to the maximum to rise farther and higher than they could have ever dreamed, than their fathers or grandfathers ever dreamed. And in America, as Alan Greenspan said, and one of the things I've always admired him for saying, in America, young people can work and learn, and as they age, they can get to the very top without having to push somebody else down. We can rise in America on our merits if we get rid of the idea that we have to have the government elites to tell us what to do. If we will remember that it is limited government that allows us to grow, not unlimited faith in limitless government. California Republicans stand for that. And you got to do it in a way that is welcoming. Not everybody's going to agree with us on everything. But remember, we won 87 freshmen, 63 new seats, partially because 60% of independents voted Republican. And they did because they agree with us on the issues. Because the Tea Party brought great energy to many areas because they agree with us on the issues. It is the issues that allowed us to win. And if we deviate from that, it'll be harder to win.